Hi everyone, I'm Todd C. Slater, the Simple Investor, and as I had promised, I want to offer what I call the Simple Financial Survival Course. I know that we're in some pretty incredible, crazy times right now. So what I'd like everybody to do is, first and foremost, if you know anybody that owns investment real estate, especially people that are managing it themselves, make sure you give them out my Instagram account because I'm going to be trying to help all the landlords out there. Now again, this show is not about, or this section is not about beating up on tenants, but I need to help the landlords navigate through an exceptionally tough time. And so this is something that we're going to be doing for the next few weeks. I'm going to try to talk to you all the time, taking you step by step. I'm going to give you each day something that you're going to do to hope alleviate some of the stress about being a landlord, but also to do everything we possibly can to get everybody, both tenant and landlords, on the same track. I was just on with Jerry Agar a little bit earlier, and I was saying that if the government is expecting everybody to have a free rent month or two, that will be catastrophic for the industry, and it's not acceptable. And with the numbers that are out there, quite frankly, there's lots of people employed, and I feel for the tenants that are struggling if they've lost their job. So I'm also going to try to coach landlords on how to deal with tenants that have lost their job and what can we do. So first and foremost, the first thing I want everybody to do is that if you are currently managing your own investment property, what I want you to do is make sure you take a look at the file that you have created. Of course, I would expect you to, that you should have done a credit check, employment check when you brought a tenant in. Know exactly who your tenant is employed by. And one of the reasons why we're going to start off here is when we talk about tenancies, if they come back to you and say, hey, I've lost my job, but you find out that they're gainfully employed, then you're going to be able to have a serious conversation. But we might be able to work through this if we, equate ourselves and understand and build a better relationship with our tenants, because this is going to be very important through these trying times. But most importantly, I want to be able to create a pathway for both tenant and landlord to be able to get through this together. And of course, we need everybody to be able to pitch in. The one thing, of course, when you were turning around and you created that lease with them, you would have got what we call a last month's rent. This you should have in your back pocket. I'm going to be talking about that probably in the next episode on why this is important, because we may have to turn around and utilize that last month's rent for the next go around until you give yourself enough breathing room to be able to work with the tenant, give them a little bit of breathing room. You, of course, will notify the tenant that you're going to be utilizing the last month's rent. You are not kicking them out. But this is a tough one, and I'm going to tell everybody this, because we are definitely a administrative nightmare when it comes to the landlord-tenant board in Ontario. Regardless, if somebody turns around and says, I can't pay you, I'm not going to be able to pay you for a while, you need to issue the N4 then in the beginning of the month. And the N4 is just more for your own keeping of the actual numbers that are going to happen. So again, we know we're not going to evict anybody. First and foremost, the province isn't going to allow you to evict anybody. But right now, I need you to stay on course. I need you not just to turn around and dismiss the paperwork that's going to make you a prudent landlord. And that's one of the things I'm going to work with in this survival course. There's a reason why they call me the Simple Investor. I've been in real estate now 30 years. I'm going to continue to focus on being able to give people just simple advice on how to do things. So make sure you do have your N4 forms delivered or at least given to them, so at least we can start the accounting prospect if in the future they decide not to pay rent. But hopefully we don't go down that too far. So let's start off by saying, let's first and foremost get to know who our tenant is. Maybe reach out to them, find out how they're doing, make sure everybody's healthy. This is very important. But most importantly, find out, where they are sitting in their job. If they say, oh boy, I don't know if I can afford rent this month, I've just lost my job. Say, okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Instead of waiting till the first of the month and go, oh, where's my money? And then you are more combative. So we've got to work on the relationship of tenant and landlord. This is going to be so important to get through all of this. So again, this is what the course is going to be about. I'm going to try to give you some really good tips as we go along over the next several weeks and months. This is something that I want to give everybody as much education as possible. If you can, tell everybody that you know to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be doing a lot of advocacy work for landlords, especially with my radio show on News Talk 1010. You can hear it on Sundays at noon. That's 10:10 a.m. And again, it's so important that we stay focused. We have to be respectful, and most importantly, we're going to be prudent landlords. And you know what? I call it the simple landlord, but we're going to make it simple, or simple as possible during this time. So anyways, I'm Todd C. Slater, the Simple Investor. Thanks for tuning in. And again, make sure you tell everybody to tune in, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to work towards making you a stronger landlord. Good tenant relationships are going to be very important, and we'll go from there. Anyways, thanks for tuning in.